you tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.
Amazing intro. Really inspiring. This is Disconnectors, and the song is The King. And we have the pleasure to have with us Blake, who's playing bass and singing on this song. Hi Blake, how's it going?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Very happy to have you here to talk about this wonderful piece of music and your band, your projects. So why don't you take the floor and introduce yourself and your music?
Oh, okay, cool. I'm Blake Rooker. I play in a band called the Disconnectors. I'm the lead vocalist and bass player.
Oh, wow, fantastic. So lead vocalist, but you were mentioning before that something very curious about this band. Everybody sings, is that right?
Yes, absolutely. We're a three-piece. It's me and Zach and Arthur. Zach plays guitar, Arthur plays drums, and everybody sings in this one, which is really cool to have from a songwriting perspective. I'm used to being the only singer in the band usually. It opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah.
Musically.
I see, you're mentioning that you open a lot of creative opportunities. How about collaboration? So what's challenging or what is inspiring about having everybody to sing and at the time of writing? What's the process a little bit?
It can be tough, and this is a good problem to have. It can be tough to get through all the ideas. Everybody in the band is playing two instruments basically, so and we all have lots of ideas, and I try to be the kind of person that tries everything first, to see how it sounds, because you never know whether you like an idea from the start or whatever, like how it's going to turn out. And sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know about that, and then you try it and it's really, really cool. So sometimes it could be tough to sort through everybody having a direction, but we have a really collaborative process, and we've all been playing for a long time and are kind and supportive of each other in the songwriting process. So it's nice and lighthearted, and we try to get everybody's ideas in there.
Okay, that's great. That's great in band. And you were saying also that this is not your first band, so you've been in many other projects. And tell us a little bit of the beginnings and your previous experience. How is it different now, or what did you learn?
Yeah, definitely. I started playing music when I was about 15. There were some kids in my neighborhood that played guitar, and they showed me how to play some rudimentary drums just to jam with them. And then eventually I started singing around them, and they were, I would hang out with a friend of mine that would play guitar, and I would sing, and eventually he had a band that didn't have a singer. And so I was able to join that band, and I've played in lots of bands at this point. So I lived in Boulder for a while, played in a band there. Nashville for a while, played in a few bands there. And then now Austin, and was able to put this band together.
Wonderful, fantastic. So really, you kind of like play all the instruments, is that right?
A little bit of each. I would say I'm predominantly a singer, but if the song needs drums and we don't have a drummer around, I can hop on drums or bass or guitar or whatever. I'm just very happy to play whatever it is.
Yeah, of course. And so is it bass your favorite, or is it what this band needed?
It started, like most bass players, it started out of necessity. Everybody in Austin, like Nashville, plays guitar, so it can be hard to find a drummer and a bass player. And the first person I found for this band was Zach, and he's a great guitar player and harmony vocalist. And so I was like, okay, well, you've got better chops on guitar. Let me try bass. And then we ended up writing like 3 or 4 songs the first time we tried it. And we were like, okay, this works. And then slowly, not actually that slowly, I fell in love with it. I really like the bass now. I always played rhythm guitar before. And so it was like what I was doing on rhythm guitar and what I could do on the bass. It was kind of a similar vein, with just more girth to it with the bass. So it's been super fun. I've loved it.
Yeah, bass is a great instrument, and it's so important. And to those that are not musicians, maybe how would you describe is fundamentally different from playing bass from playing guitar?
Guitar, obviously there's a lot of exceptions. There's some people that take the bass and make it like a out in the front solo instrument, but in a lot of the bands that I like, the bass is a simpler part. And so, you got more strings on the guitar. Obviously you're worried about chords or whatever. And with bass, you can kind of do one note at a time, but you can kind of control like the soul of the song. A lot of songs that stick in my head it's like the bass line and the chord changes that stick in my head, but you don't necessarily notice it, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. You're so right. I really like something you said. You kind of control the soul of a song, because it is so important. It's almost unnoticeable sometimes, but it really goes to the point, like you were saying. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And it also goes more with the rhythm of, the kick drum, etc. So how is it for you to keep the rhythm and at the same time sing the melody?
That could be tough sometimes. That was the hardest part of switching to bass. Sometimes the bass line is a slightly different rhythm than the vocal part, which can be difficult, but you just got to practice it over and over again until you can do it.
That's right. Practice.
Yeah.
So, okay, wonderful. So, in terms of currently on this band, you're in Austin, Texas, a great place. And what is the day-to-day for the Disconnectors?
We're the new guy here. I moved here from Colorado. Zach moved from New York. Arthur is from San Antonio, but he lived in New Zealand for like the last 7 years. So we're the new kids down here. So we try to practice once or twice a week, write as many songs as possible. We go to the studio. It's a lot of that early grind of trying to get places to let us in and that whole new band thing.
No, that's great. That's also a time for opportunity, for dreaming. And speaking about dreaming, what do you see your immediate future to be? What would you like it to be for this band?
Oh, yeah. Obviously everybody wants to be, the Foo Fighters or something like that, down the line. That would be amazing. But these days, I think I like it the most when other bands that I like say like, "Hey, your music's cool" or something like that. Like, so, a little local success would be sweet.
Nice.
That would be fun.
Nice. I actually, this is a great point. Is very profound actually. To be liked by the artists or the musicians that you admire, that is great. That is actually a big success. Yeah.
Yeah,
like it.
Yeah, definitely.
I love
It always feels good when you get a compliment from a band you like.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, well, that means a lot coming from you because I love your music, that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So we got it covered. About the studio, you were mentioning the studio. What's the recording process like? A lot of these days, a lot of bands, it's all a self-production type of thing. Do you have a producer? Do you go into a studio? What is the recording process?
Yeah, we have so we record at this place called Ice Cream Factory here in Austin, and it's awesome. This guy Matt Parmenter owns it, and he has a really cool collection of gear. And the way we describe him is sort of like the fourth band member. So we show him some early ideas, some rudimentary demos, and go in, and he helps us put it down. And we'll use a lot of his gear and let him pick some of the tones and give him some creative control over how to make the sound we're trying to make. It ends up being pretty collaborative and really fun. I couldn't recommend that place highly enough. He's a great guy to work with, and we have a good time.
Okay, great, fantastic. You released The King not long ago, and how do you feel is the reception, your expectations for the song, upcoming releases that you have? Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, most of the people we've showed it to really like it. Our goal every time we record is to try and top ourselves from last time, just out of inner competition with ourselves, I suppose. And it's doing pretty well so far. And I guess my formula is, especially when you're starting out, like, just try to make a cooler song and a cooler song and a cooler song until somebody notices it. Keep putting it out. Eventually, you'll have stuff that you can show to people, and they're like, "Yeah, you can play on this bill," that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, would you say is recommendable, or would you recommend releasing singles or independent songs rather than waiting to complete a full album and release it all together? What's your advice?
Yeah, what we're doing right now is we're releasing them one at a time, so we can promote each one online, and then eventually we'll probably compile them into a full-length record when we have enough songs to do that, which we're getting close. We have 6 recorded now.
Okay.
And I think that's the way, from what I've seen, most people are doing these days. I actually prefer albums, to listen to an album like all together. Same with like a Netflix show or something. I'd rather watch the whole season in a sitting, than do it once a week. But for the way it works, releasing things on the internet, and myself included, people have a short attention span. So if you hit them with an album all at once, they're like, "Oh, okay, this is cool," and then they get distracted or whatever. Whereas if you release one at a time, they'll listen to the song and then, maybe listen to the next one if they like it. So, yeah, I think it's good to do one at a time.
Yeah, actually, it's a good advice, and it's funny how the tables turn with modern days. Before, like you were, the analogy that you do with the series, with the shows. Before on TV, you used to have one every week.
Yeah,
it's kind of the opposite now. So very interesting. I like that. That I like that analogy. Wonderful. Blake from the Disconnectors, and we're listening to The King. It's an amazing song, great band to pay attention to, wonderful person, very interesting to discuss. Blake, last question normally that I like to ask is, what would be your advice to your younger self?
My younger self?
Yes, to your young, or, somebody who's getting started in music, what would you say?
You're as good as your work ethic, I think. So if you love it, play all the time as much as you can and get as good as possible. And I would say learn how to compete with yourself to get better, and you'll always get better. And learn to enjoy the process. Some of the stuff along the way, trying to scrape by and put things together can be less fun, but the whole point of it is that it's awesome and you do it because you love it. I had that experience when I was younger, and now that I've gotten a little older, I've learned to enjoy the path and try not to worry about the destination as much, although it's easier said than done.
That's right. I really like that. Learn to compete with yourself, and you will always get better. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time again, Blake, from the Disconnectors. Pay attention to this band. The song is The King. There are many more coming. Blake, thank you again.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to enjoy a little bit more of The King. See you next one.
Tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.